Well, usually I say welcome to the Dr. Cloud Show, but now it's kind of like welcome back, because we've had a little bit of a hiatus here. For those of you who are regular viewers or regular listeners, I've been gone to have a total knee replacement. And, I kind of, well, what's it been like? 10 days into this now, I guess. And, um, I've learned some things. I'm gonna share some stuff here with you about a few of the lessons I've learned going through this. Before I do that, though, I do want to welcome you if you're new to the program. We talk about all sorts of things in life here, relationships and our pains and hurts and struggles and aspirations and dreams and goals and all of that. And you can actually call in and we get spend some time together, us and all of the audience, which happens to be the greatest audience in the world that you'll be sharing with. And the lines are open right now. Probably a lot of you going, what? What are they doing there? I thought they were gone. It's 844-940-2774 is the number. 844-940-2774. And you can call in and get in on the program. So I thought I'd open up today. Hadn't been here in a while. I know a number of you, I've been told I've really, really been out of it, much more than I thought I was going to be. But apparently you haven't been out of it. You've been continuing to be a great community with each other and talking to each other and supporting each other and all of that. And so that's been really, really cool. But the funny thing about this is, knee replacements, total knee replacements are something they've been doing quite a while, quite successfully. If you talk to people that have had them, by and large, what you're going to hear is, oh, it's great. So much better. I'm so glad I did it. And that's pretty much the story you hear. You can Google and find out there's a certain percentage that don't go well and things happen. And and by and large, that's what people say. And then when you say, well, what was the process like? They go, well, it hurt. It's pretty tough, but you get over it and you do the PT and then you're great. And so I was kind of thinking, well, this is no big deal. That's why I said I'll be back on the air, next week. Well, that didn't quite happen. It turns out, I guess, technically, my knee had been bent and unable to move, and for so long, and it had gotten there was a bunch of stuff that behind the knee and tendons and all this stuff that had gotten just frozen in there, and they had to do a lot of extra work besides the replacement. And he said basically I take a chisel and go carve out the back of it. You got to make it smooth and lift all that stuff out so you can start moving again. And so when I woke up, and so I would say the first 48 hours is pretty tough. 54 hours probably. And so, but after that, it's gotten progressively better. In fact, I was showing off. If you guys want a little encouragement here for what if you have to do this, I was showing off for my team before the program. I'm going to show you here. I'm going to leave my walker over there, and this is 10 days out of a total knee replacement. Here I am walking across the room. Hopefully, you can still hear me. And I am a walking commercial for a total knee, 10 days out, walking. There we go. Okay, so there's the ad for my great, 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 great surgeon. Had a fantastic surgeon. That's why I came across the country. Um, Dr. Lowry Barnes at the University of Arkansas Medical Sciences world. One of the leaders in the country who's developed, he actually developed a lot of the implants. I think he's the president of American Orthopedic Joint Replacement Group. Anyway, did a great job. He said everything worked. But I've learned some lessons. So here are a few things that I learned in this. After you got that initial pain thing out of the way, now I would say this: don't go get scared of having yours, because I just don't respond well to opioids. And I've always had that problem whenever I had surgeries before. Painkillers just don't do much for me. And so, it's kind of tough. But here's what I learned, and I got over that, and I'm okay. PT hurts, but I'm okay. But here's the deal. I learned all of this stuff we talk about on this show is true. Like, I'm not kidding. It's really, really true, especially in a handful of areas. Now, one of them, I'm going to begin with here. Maybe we'll spread these out over a few days because I'll bore you too much. By the way, I need to give the number again: 844-940-2774. Let's talk about you. I don't want to talk about me the whole time. I want to talk about you. So call me at 844-940-2774. But back to this stuff is true. One of the things that you hear me talk about over and over and over and over and over again is what relational and emotional support does for us. Now, a lot of times we experience this at the conscious level. Maybe you're feeling lonely or down, and somebody talks to you, and oh, it felt good to talk to somebody or connect with somebody. And that's true. But I learned what all the research shows. There's so much research that shows that the more grounded you are in a support system, how that changes literally everything within you. Well, here's what I discovered. I went through I went through this surgery in the middle of COVID. And so when you have a surgery and you're in the hospital, um, there's no visitors and no loved ones. And so I had surgery daybreak Thursday morning, and I was in there till Saturday because I had some pain issues, and basically kind of in isolation. Now, every now and then you hit the button and somebody will come in, either help you get to the bathroom or, um, you know, pain medicine's kind of on schedule. There's not a lot you can do about that. And basically, I was alone. And I am the best alone person. I mean, I'm kind of am an introvert. I love my alone time. I love to, like have white space in a dark room and my books and, things I'm studying. And so I never thought I didn't even think about not having anybody there with me. I mean, it literally never occurred to me as in that. I thought about it. I wish my wife could have been there, but with COVID and all of that. But I never thought about it that it would be a problem. Like I thought I would be okay. Well, here's what I learned. When you're in pain, and I've written books about this. When you're in pain, what happens is it goes into this subjective experience. And this could be for you, it could be emotional pain, could be physical pain, could be any other kind of pain. But pain itself is a subjective emotional experience, and it kind of sits in the present, right? It doesn't really have a clock to it. It doesn't really have a schedule to it. It's subjective, it's not objective. And when you're in it, and you're alone, what I discovered was that subjective experience of pain literally started to just take over. It's like it's all it is. It's all it's hurting so bad but the subjective experience of pain just becomes, it's sort of like an is, not something you're in that's going to end, but it just is. And I was surprised at the depth of and this is not a word that I would say that I experience hardly ever. Is there was such an isolated loneliness being locked up for 3 days in COVID, post surgery. And I'm thinking about all the COVID patients out there, and I just couldn't believe what the isolation, the isolation, uh, with them. Um, you know, they're there. I couldn't. There's no way as much the I had good supportive people in it with me. Now, I don't want to sound over dramatic about any of this stuff. It just is what it is. Surgery hurts, and sometimes it really hurts, and blah blah blah. But you put the COVID isolation together with it, with the amount of relief I can't get from pain pills, and I just learned everything we talk about on the show. So here's the takeaway for you. I don't know what your surgery is. You're going through something, perhaps you may be in the best time of your life, but if you're not, you're going through something. What that means is that the knife of pain has hung, and it's cut into your heart somewhere, or your relationships or something. And I want you to remember what I just said, that subjective experience can become all encompassing, and you really can start to feel like this is what life is like. I was surprised at how much I in the severe pain I got into that this is how life is like. And it becomes subjective, it becomes whole. And also the degree to which, having support. But what I'm saying to you is that doesn't have to be real, because when you add the people back into the mix, and they're there for you, I literally could feel the whole system begin to change and come back to life. And it was a very, very, very powerful lesson in all of that for all the things we talked about. So a couple of takeaways. Your pain can get subjective, it become all of life, and without the support you need, it's just going to go in really weird different places. And here's something else I learned about that all of life thing. When I started to get little more, mobile. In fact, just this past weekend, I actually got out, and we went out for a few hours. Actually went to a golf course and rode around and looked around, and it was like, wow, life is bigger than my, my last handful of 10 days or whatever it was. And so I just want to remind you of that. Don't let your pain get in a subjective, isolated bubble, and make sure that whatever you're going through, you're really, really connected, and that you also have ways of being pulled out of it to remember the other aspects of life that aren't just about that. Because it's really going to do some good things to your head. Okay, so a few lessons there from my experience. So in summary, here's what I would tell you is, if you are in pain with with your knees, go see a great knee surgeon, because if it is the right thing for you, I'm walking now, 10 days out, and for those of you who've seen me in the last few years, I was not walking. And so, Dr. Barnes, my hat is off to you. Very, very esteemed surgeon around the country, and um, I've had a great experience. So thank you, thank you, thank you, and University of Arkansas here in Little Rock. So that's kind of that. So I would like to go to now and talk to you, uh, in out there in past, my world lane. Let's talk to Laura, who's comes from Rochester, New York. Way up there, way, way, way up there, actually. Laura, welcome to the program.
Hi, Dr. Cloud. Thank you very
Hi.
much.
Thank you. Thanks for calling in.
So my question for you is, my husband and sister-in-law and I are taking care of my mother-in-law, who has pretty advancing Parkinson's and dementia. So we've been doing that since the quarantine restrictions have lifted a little bit. And upon entering the situation, I think we've realized how poorly her spouse, my father-in-law, has been taking care of her. And since we've been involved, we've noticed some behaviors and coping that are just harmful to her.
Wait, hold on a second. You said her spouse, but your father-in-law?
Yeah, so her spouse
Is that
is
right?
my father-in-law. So, yep.
Okay. So
Yep.
this is your
So,
husband's
yeah,
mother. Okay.
correct.
Got
Correct.
it.
Yep. So it's gotten pretty difficult because we feel like she needs care. We want to do that. We love her. We want to come in and help care for her properly and make her quality of life the best it can be. But at the same time, it's really enabling. We feel like some of these really unhealthy coping mechanisms and just behaviors that my father-in-law is struggling with. We want to have a conversation with him, but we're just not sure how to do that as far as boundaries go without sacrificing her care and her well-being.
Yeah. Why would it sacrifice her care if you talk to him about stepping it up a little bit? Because that's really bottom line, right? You're saying, hey, come on, Dad. We
Right.
need a
So
little more from you
we
here.
have done all. Yes, when we have done all of that so far, and there's been no receptivity,
What does that
no
mean?
forward.
When you say all of that and no receptivity, can you be more
Yes,
specific about what the all
sure.
of that, like a few of the what you've done, and what does receptivity look like?
Yeah. So, for example, part of what he needs to do is give her medications on a schedule. And we have discovered numerous times that he's either not done it or given her the wrong ones or the wrong amounts. And we had a conversation with him, like, how this is absolutely critical. You can't mess up her medicines. And he basically lies to our face. So I didn't do it. I didn't know. I gave it to her, and the pills are right in the pill box. So we've tried.
Are you
And the
sure she's the
medication
only
is just
one with
one.
dementia?
Yeah, she has the excuse.
No, I'm serious. I
She's
mean,
sick.
is he
Yeah.
cognitively impaired?
He's. I think he's suffering from a lot of grief and a lot of pain, and
Yeah.
he
So
doesn't have a lot of people in his
let me ask you
life.
a question.
So
Is
yeah,
this lack of him stepping up for what his wife needs? Is that a new thing in this season
no,
of
it's
their
not.
life? Okay,
No,
so this is more
it's
long
years
term
in the
characterological.
making.
Okay,
Mhm.
that helps me.
Yep. Yep.
All right, so
Yep.
then that's what you mean by the kinds of things. All right. So what do you
Mhm.
mean that you've talked to him, right? You've told him that there's certain things that have to get better. You've been specific.
Correct. Yeah. And
Okay.
he's not done them.
And how
So
specific have you been?
pretty specific. Like there's 3 things that we laid out: medications, hygiene, and diet. We said these absolutely have to be done to care for her. So we've been very specific, even offered to,
And
teach
and
him, show him,
and what did
and
he say to that
nothing's
to
changing.
those?
It's a lot of excuses and a lot of,
But
well, I'm
did he
just not
say,
that way. Yeah.
oh, so he didn't say, okay, that's good, I'll do that, and then not do it? He said, no, that's not something I can do.
Yes. He said that's just not, I'm not a caregiver by nature. I can't do that. Or he'll say he can do it, but then he just doesn't. So it's either,
Well,
it is both.
okay. So I'm going to give you 2 paths here, but let
Hmm.
me make sure I understand the question that you were going to ask. So get it down to a final
Okay.
question here.
The final question is, since we have had these conversations and he is not following what we'd asked him to do, what more can we do that won't sacrifice her care and her well-being?
Well,
Because right now we're going, yeah,
how would it sacrifice it? That
because we feel we can't we don't have any other leverage aside from we can't come over and help anymore. If
any
you're not
more than you're
willing to do
doing?
these things anymore, period.
Why can't you do that?
Well, because honestly, our mother-in-law's safety is, and her life, we feel like is on the line.
That's what
If
I'm
we
saying.
don't,
I mean,
yeah,
I'm not suggesting that you don't. I'm saying, why don't you just do it? If he can't do it, why can't you continue just to go make sure she's okay and take care of her and accept the reality
Oh,
he's
that, yeah.
he's not going to do this, and so divide it
Yeah, we
up,
could.
you know, because
We
if
could.
her, yeah, if her, that's kind of the direction I was going to go in. Look, you know,
Ah,
we could
okay.
talk about a plan of how you rehab him into into Nurse Nightingale, but you know, as you know, right? So, and
Mhm.
I think, you know, if you were going, I wouldn't throw that away, but you could say, okay, Dad, would you like start aspirational? Would you like to help Mom? You know, and if you
Mhm.
get yes,
Mhm.
okay, here's the things. And then I would try to get very, very specific and get that down into very structured tasks. And what we're going to do is
Okay.
in the morning, she needs her medicine. Okay. So one of us is going to call you at 9 o'clock and make sure that's happened. And if it hadn't, we'll stay
Mhm.
on the phone. You go give it to her. You come back and tell us that it's done. Okay. Then at noon, she's got to, you know, walk around the house and get some sun, whatever there are. You could do that and
Right.
help him develop into this and kind of add structure from the outside. Okay. You could do that. Good luck.
Right.
Could
Mhm.
happen. But the bottom
Mhm.
line here is you've got to provide for her well-being. She needs her medicines, right?
Right. Right.
And so if you are able to do that, I would consider him at this point not part of the equation and act as if he's not available because he's really not available. And I would ask the question, how
Right.
am I going to take care of my mother? And so
Gotcha.
that may be y'all dividing it up, but also, you know, this is where support systems come into play. You know,
Mhm.
I would, you know, if somebody in my neighborhood, you know, if my next door neighbor who's elderly, if their daughter said, "Hey, could you drop by? Maybe you take Thursdays or Tuesdays and Thursdays or something, drop by and make sure she's had her medicine." Of course, I would do that. Or so I
Mhm.
would extend it out and maybe bring in some other friends here. And then I don't know what your financial resources are, but if you know if there are resources, there are wonderful, incredible organizations. Like one of them that I've worked with a lot is called Home Instead. Have you heard of
Mhm.
them?
I have. Yeah. Mhm.
And they are an incredible organization of the most caring, loving people, you know, most, you know, just are in it to help people. And you can have them go in there, you know, an hour a day or 3 times a week or something, and just make sure she has her medicines or whatever it is. I don't know if you can afford it or not. It's not awfully expensive at the minimal levels, but I think you need to up the resources and get some other people. Okay.
Mm. Yeah, that's a great idea. Yep.
But don't let her fall through the cracks. I know
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
not.
So
It hasn't
so
happened yet, right? She
assuming
hasn't had any
yeah.
safety issues yet, but
But minor
but
ones, nothing big yet though.
don't
So
want to have any. We don't have any,
yeah.
right? Okay.
So
All
you're
right.
telling us we should try to accept that he's just out of the equation, that he's unable to do that, and kind of
Well,
move
I'm
on
no.
with her care.
Here's what I'm telling you. What you have told me is that he is out
Yeah.
of the equation, and so if I've got a mother that needs care or a mother-in-law needs care, and there's nobody there to help, like she needs to be helped, then I'm going to take care of
Yeah.
it. Okay.
Gotcha.
I'm just going
Yep.
by
That sounds
what
right.
you've told me. And
Yeah. I think you're right.
it'd be great if he could catch the bug and we could structure him better. And I'd bring in all
Sure.
sorts of outside resources. And if she ever is in any kind of danger, then you know that's where you gotta go the next level. You know, you do
Mhm.
like
Mhm.
call the protective services or somebody, or have somebody go in there and check on her. But it sounds
Mhm.
like that hasn't happened.
Okay.
Okay. All
No.
right.
No. Thank you for your help. Appreciate
Okay.
it.
Thanks for your call.
All right. Bye bye.
Oh, I hear your heavy sigh there. That is a very, very, very tough one. You know, we have um, so many scenarios where obviously people need help, and um, you know there aren't social services available to do that. But you know what? There are friends, there are relatives, there are networks, and I would say this to all of you: the time to build that network is today. It's not later when you need it. That's what, you know, the fabric of healthy. There's so much research on this. You know, it takes a village. There's a great book called The Village Effect, I think was the name of it. It just shows all of this stuff about the fabric of social connectedness, that when we have it well, it's what I was talking about earlier. You know, I couldn't have gone through what I've gone through here successfully without my friends and what they've done for me. And so I'm no different than her mother-in-law. And so wherever you are, if you're in that, I want you to reach out to your broader network and ask some people. You know, this might sound weird, but you could you help me once a week? You know, can your teenager come over and bring a salad or something? You know, go ahead, involve people. You'll be surprised that many of them may want to help when you didn't even know that was a possibility. Okay, the lines are open, a couple of them anyway. 844-940-2774. 844-940-2774 is the number. Let's go to Chicagoland and talk to Allison, who is calling us about, wants to know if she's in a rut. Allison, welcome to the program.
Hi. Hi. Can you
Hi.
hear me?
I can hear you loud and
Hi,
clear.
Dr. Cloud. Hi.
What's up?
Wow, I got through. That's awesome.
You did.
First, I want to say, good job on getting your surgery. I'm glad that you're doing well.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
So now to what I need surgery for, which is many things. Basically, I am feeling stuck in a rut, both in my marriage and in my ministry. So I don't know. I guess I'm going to focus on my ministry. I have been working in my ministry for quite a number of years. And I know that I work for God. I don't work for money, but I need money. And,
so when you say your ministry, you literally mean you're in professional ministry?
Well, I am a writer, and God called me to be a voice for orphans and vulnerable children. And so when I say my ministry, it's pretty much me, God, and the angels, which should make me feel great because, you know, God is my dread champion. But I am feeling like, okay, God, I need you to send people to help me. Like I'm feeling I can't do everything. And there's a lot of strain in my marriage. It crosses over. Because I don't make money, very much money. I do make money in my for my ministry, like to support it, but not a lot. And I just feel like I need to break through to a place where I could be sustaining myself, and so I can pursue this. Does that make sense?
So, well, if I understand it right, there's writing that you do to be an advocate, right, for orphans and who else? You said orphans. Is it special needs?
Vulnerable children.
Vulnerable.
Foster care. Like I grew up in a children's home, so like.
Got it. Okay. God bless you. God bless you. My wife and I are. What's that? Oh yes, yeah. My wife and I are involved in ministries and groups that help, especially kids aging out of foster care, and it's such a big need. So God bless you for that. But if I understand you right, you're in an advocate position. You write stuff, and that builds awareness. Do you deliver service in any way to these kids?
What do you mean? Do I deliver service?
I don't know what you do.
Can you be more specific?
Well, there's a lot of services
So,
they need. There's tutoring, there's hooking up with scholarships, there's school systems, there's emotional training, there's psychosocial development, there's all sorts of stuff that
Right.
kind of groups that come along that population? Or are you a writer
No,
and you try to lift the veil that's over that incredible problem in our country?
the second one. I mean,
Yeah,
just giving people the perspective of from where I have walked through, I know what it's like to age out of the system.
Right.
I know what it's like to be in the world and be 17 and have nobody to
right.
not have a support system, have to go out and get a support system and work really hard to get a support system.
Right.
And I understand the value
so what
of that.
you in understanding your ministry, what you do you write articles? Do you write books? Help me understand what it is you do, because it sounds like the way I heard the question,
I'm working on a book
you have
right
this
now.
full-time thing that you poured your life into, and it's taken all of your efforts, and financially it's not sustaining itself. Am I hearing that right?
It's just sustaining itself, but it's more like I feel physically like I can't do everything. Like I have some great stories that I'd like to share from people that I've interacted with. And I don't know, like I've got to, for example, just get like something that they could sign off where I could put their pictures up or, tell their story and how ours collided. And my friend said, well, just research it. And I'm like, just research it. Like I'm already trying to do everything from the ground up. I knew I was not going to make money when I started this. And so I'm working on a book, and I know that a lot of sources of income could flow out of that. And my heart really isn't in the income, but I feel that I don't feel like God wants me to be groveling at the bottom. That's not what his character's like. I have a blog and I post on that, but it takes a lot to go from a rough draft to a final draft. And I'm trying to just, my blog's an Orphan's Battleground.
Okay. If I'm understanding correctly, you're mainly writing a blog, and that's a full-time, it's taking all your
and
efforts?
And a book.
And a book?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I don't know what that looks like.
And I listened to your little aunt story about how, you got through graduate school. I know a lot of the stuff. I just don't know. I feel like it's never going to end. The picking up and then walking it over to here, every day, picking it up and walking it over to here. COVID kind of just crashed everything in.
Yeah. Here's where I'm a little confused. Okay. Now, let me say something that I don't want you to take this the wrong way. It really is a curiosity question. Okay. Can you hear it that way?
Yes.
You promise?
Yeah.
You promise?
It's a curiosity question.
That's all I'm asking. I just need to get some data. Okay. In my experience, okay, how long is your blog?
What do you mean, how long is it?
Is it 1,000 words? Is it 1,500 words? Is it once a week? How much work are we talking about here?
I have over 700 posts that are in rough draft form. When God called me to write, at first I was doing fine, but then because life started happening, and it was so much that I feel like he was pulling stuff out of me, stuff that I didn't even know was there.
How often do you post? How often do you post this blog, and how long are the entries?
Well, my last entry was, I don't know. It was between 2,000 and 3,000 words.
2,000 and 3,000 words, and how often do you post one?
I don't post that often, and that's that's part of it. I was in a writing group, taking my stuff to people and having them hear it. But so it would be not even once a month,
for sure. I
Okay.
have to
Laura,
I have over 50 blog posts that are published. I can tell you that. It's not consistent, which I would like it to be.
okay,
And I just
but it's
can't.
roughly, let's just call it, it's a once a month schedule. Is that fair?
That's fair.
Okay. All right. So here's what I'm going to tell you. And I'm saying this from a little bit of a, I mean, this is not a foreign field to me because I've written a bunch of books, right? And I write a lot of articles and all of that. And so I don't, um, you're gonna have to help me understand if I'm wrong here. Um, I don't think 2 or 3,000 words in a month time is a full-time job. I don't understand how that takes, what's that, 160 hours plus. You follow me?
I follow you.
Okay, so what that tells
Well,
what that tells me is that what you might have a problem with is that the biggest thing you might need is somebody to come alongside you and help structure you to use your talents and abilities to get the things that you need to get done. Like, it may not be a sustainability problem and all these other things. Sustainability issues usually follow when when everything is being produced and what's being produced isn't isn't viable. That's kind of the word we use a lot, right? I'm hitting the bar, it's all happening, but it's not viable. And so we have to find other ways to make it sustainable. I would think that if you're going to run this as a one woman show, there's a number of elements to it, right? You've got to have, you know, the awareness piece, but there's also PR that goes with this. There's a marketing to get it posted in the right places. You're finding magazines, you're having it. There's a lot that goes with this. And I think
Yeah.
what you're going to need is you're going to need somebody that's more of a coach in the beginning to help you structure a path. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because
Well,
there's
yeah,
some
because
uh,
here's the thing. It's not. I can pump out a lot of writing, and just that's not the issue. And I'm writing a lot more than that particular amount each month. It's just that, like, for example, at the beginning of COVID, my blog, like the structure of my blog, just they eliminated it and said, well, we don't provide this anymore. Now you have to pick a new one. So I'm not a website designer, but because I didn't have the money to go hire a website designer, I had to revamp my whole
yeah.
backside
Yeah.
of my blog. And so
Okay.
that's what I'm talking about.
I understand. But I'm going to give you a little formula here, and then you got to get some other callers, because what I'm hearing is you're going to kind of stay stuck, like you feel, in this sort of like rut, because there's an absence of a linear path that's moving this thing forward. All right. So I'm going to give you like 4 or 5 things real quickly. Okay. Because I got to go. But the first thing is, number one, I want you to get very, very clear on what the vision is for this. What is it you're actually trying to do? All right. Now, you sound like you're kind of clear
Okay.
on that, but I want to make sure what you're trying to do. Number two, what talent and help are you going to have around you to make that happen? And I think that's where you're stuck right now. Okay. Now, that may mean there's a web design technology piece of this. That may be there's somebody to post things. That may be somebody to help you get organized, whatever it is. But in every endeavor, there is talent that is needed that we don't have. Okay. Now,
Yeah.
if you got $1 million, you can go out and hire that team. I didn't have $1 million when I started to hire a team. I had to find that in places. Okay. You join an online workshop to help you structure it. You find a kid, at the local high school that builds a website. I don't know how you do it, but I want you to fill out that team. You find the coach that's going to help hold you accountable, or whatever it is, another group. But you find a team of not find a team. You put one together this is the support I'm going to need. Okay, this is the help I'm going to need. All right. And once you have that team together, the third thing is that you have a very, very strategically organized plan that gets into time increments. Okay. By this date, if the next piece is I got to have the web page up, I'm going to have that done in 2 weeks. And then I'm going to have this, I'm going to have this. And you've got to get that plan on paper, and it's got to come with very, very specific times. And then some way of holding yourself accountable to that with whoever it is can do that. Now, if you would just focus on just those four categories, making clear about what you want to have done, okay, what it is you're trying to accomplish, what the talent you're going to have helping you looks like, what the plan is, it has times and dates to it, and then the accountability system for holding you to that and fixing it along the way, then that's how you're going to get there. Okay. I hope that's helpful to you.
Well, I wrote it all down.
Okay. Well,
and when you started, you didn't have money, and you were still able to build the support.
Of course. John Townsend and I started, for example, we started our hospital company out of a broom closet with zero money. I mean, zero money, and built it into, 40 cities throughout the Western United States. And we didn't have a dime. But what you do is you've got something of value, and you go to people and say, here's what I bring. Here's how I think it would help you. You join us. You could bring this piece. You could bring that piece. There's organizations. There's foster care systems. There's you got to get in this network. You kind of isolated in a bubble here, and I think you got to get more connected out of that, or it's just going to squander. Okay, so I hope that's helpful to you. I want to hear how it's going, and we go to some other callers. I want to hear how it's going at some point, and you call us back. I would remind all of you, whatever it is you're going to do. If we're the only ones, we wake up in the morning, we're the only ones that exist in the universe, that's probably not going to happen. Now, what that doesn't mean is you might find yourself, I'm the only one that's going to make this happen. That's right. But part of making that happen means I'm going to call and bring some other people aboard to make it happen. You've got to recruit, right? You've got to bring the people onto the cause, that there's something in it for them, the clarity of the mission, what you're trying to do here. She's probably got friends. If we went through, her contact list, probably got friends that care about orphans. Yeah, I'll help you do that. What do you need? I'll go do this or that. Start somewhere, whatever it is you want to do. Okay, so let's see how we are doing here. By the way, while I'm looking up our next call, I hadn't talked to you for a while. Right before I went on hiatus here for my surgery. We had just launched the new platform on boundaries.me, and I was so excited about that. It's gone so well. We heard lots of stuff from so many people. If you haven't gone and looked at it, go to boundaries.me and check it out, because there's all sorts of new functions on there. You can take some assessment helps that help you figure out what's your path, what courses do you need to let the platform line up for you. You tell them, this is the way I want to grow. This is the area I want to grow. And it'll help you find the courses in there that you need to take. We're adding new courses all the time. We just launched one on overcoming loneliness, I think this past week, and lots of good stuff. So go to boundaries.me, become a subscriber, and then we get to hang out a lot more than we do just right here. Okay. So that is what I want to say about that. And you know what? It's good to be back with you guys. I'm been in a hole here, but I'm getting well. I'm getting better. Okay, Sherry calling us from Kansas, and sounds like she's got an issue with her son. And Sherry, it's Sherry. Yeah. Sherry, we welcome you to the program. Thanks for calling.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your time.
Yeah. How can I help you?
I have a 30-year-old son who right now is struggling with alcoholism. But my question is, I have 4 kids, and he has been different since the day he was born. Life's always been more difficult for him. he functioned well, but he was always emotionally, more troubled than the rest of him. I mean, got angry, couldn't get along as well with all of his other brothers. And he struggled and been different since the day he was born. Their dad passed away. He's number 3. Their dad passed away when they were young. This one was 5 when his dad passed away.
Had his problems started before then, you said, since he was born?
Yeah, he's always been just more, I guess you could say, agitated. Angry, frustrated. But it's more on an emotional level. He functions well. But the question I have is, a lot of the traits that I've seen as he's grown up are similar to his father's biological family. We moved away from them after their dad died, and but yet he has all the characteristics and the tendencies of the biological family we moved away from. So
was his dad? Did his dad escape that?
He did when we were away from the family. He was a much different person, but whenever we were back around his family, we got back into the same habits of, they didn't get along very well. They fought. Everybody was victims. Everybody was always angry. And I just see my son struggling with those same things, although he didn't grow up around that family. So I guess my question would be, how can we get him evaluated beyond? I think alcoholism is a manifestation of the problems he's having, but he's gone to a counselor before, and all they recommended was some medication. And
that's it?
Yeah. Of course, they want to address the drinking.
What kind of medication?
It was some kind of antidepressant, and it just made him feel kind of gloomy and bad.
Main problem. Well, usually it doesn't do that if it's working well. But his main problem was anger, and they get him antidepressant.
I don't know that it's anger. It's more like emotionally struggling, I guess, is a good way to say it.
Okay. So is your question now, how do you get him into treatment?
What kind of treatment do we seek? I think alcohol is a result of something that's going on with his biology. But because, like I said,
is he open to getting treatment for his alcohol problem?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay. Then if he's open to getting treatment for an alcohol problem, and everything that you've described is like it is, you might want to check out. Certainly you could go see a really, really good psychologist who actually has experience in addictions. And a good psychologist with an addictions background would be able to kind of get a good, good picture of this. But what I would probably do if his alcohol problem is at the place where he really does need treatment and he's open to treatment, I would look for a very, very good, and write this term down, dual diagnosis treatment center. Dual diagnosis treatment center. What that means is that he's got 2 issues, dual 2, right? So he's got an addiction, and they'll know how to treat that, but they'll also know that this is complicated by or complicated with some kind of psychological or psychiatric disorder. It's all over the map how those kind of interact, and some people are medicating themselves, and other people are depressed because they can't get out of just a real addiction. But a good dual diagnostic program like that can be really, really, really powerful. I used to run them, and it's just, you can see remarkable things happen if everything is getting treated, it needs to get treated. So if you've got both, I would look for somebody that does that.
Does that usually mean inpatient or?
It often is inpatient. Yeah, it often is inpatient. Sometimes it's there's state programs. You just look around, depending on where you are, how far he's willing to go, what's available there, et cetera, et cetera. It's not unusual for people to travel to do that if they're going to be there a while.
Okay. Okay. So I look for a dual diagnosis treatment center.
That's what I would do, and at least call and describe and then they'll talk you through it. The other thing is, in addition to that, which might be a good idea anyway, is find a good psychologist, right? A good psychologist who also specializes in addictions, and then they would be able to do this as well. I just don't want you to miss out on either one of them.
That's very good advice. I appreciate it.
Okay.
That's what I was looking for, because I know it goes way beyond, and I know it's been a lifetime thing. And
my heart goes out to
we
you
all
for
want
that and him.
we all want to see him be happy. So, all righty.
You do,
Thank you very much.
and it's hard to. We used to say early on in my training, you see psychologists trying to treat issues and all this, but the person's not sober. And we used to say, you can't treat a wet brain. It's not working right. And so you got to go after both of them. Okay. So
Sounds good.
hope that's
Thank you
helpful
very
to
much.
All right.
It is.
Thanks
very
for your
much.
call.
Thank you.
Well, here we are closing in on the first hour back. I wanted to try to, if we could go really fast, I go to Sherry, who's calling us from Pleasant Hill, California. I would say right up the road, but now I'm on the road, so that's cross country for me now. But anyway.
Yes, hello.
How are you, Sherry?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm so glad to get through to you, Dr. Cloud. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my question is, well, I have a number, but I'll stick to one. I've been dating someone for about a year, and I'm in my 50s, as is he. And he's
Wait a minute.
a really wonderful man.
You said you have a number, but you'll stick to one. There's a number of guys you've been dating for a year?
I'm sorry. There's a number of questions or issues that I have in my relationship.
Got it.
Really, there's one fundamental question that I have heard you talk about before.
Okay, what is it?
I am a Christian. I'm a Christian. I've grown up going to in a certain denomination with church life, Bible studies, just a strong spiritual life. And it's become even more, I don't know if the word is urgent, but just more important to me since this whole pandemic and political environment.
What if we use the word vital?
Vital, yeah. It
vital.
really is. I mean, it's everything to me, and it's not to him. His priorities are different. He's a believer, and he is open to discussion, and he believes in the Bible. He believes in God and Jesus Christ, but it's just not important to him as far as making time. And so I feel like we're kind of a bit ahead in our relationship, even though a lot of our other values are very similar: kindness, respect, boundaries. And I'm really devastated if this is not going to work out. But I feel like I'm not spiritually strong enough to be with somebody who's not on the same page as me.
Well, why would being spiritually strong enough have anything to do with? I mean, why would you want to be? I'm gonna paraphrase that.
Sure.
I wish I could be strong enough to be with somebody that isn't a good match for me.
Well, thank you for putting it that way.
Well, that's what it is, right? Yeah. I mean, as I hear you, you could say,
right. You're right.
I guess if I were stronger, it wouldn't bother me as much, but I don't know if that's true, because the stronger we are, Jesus was pretty strong, right? And when he was saying, hey, come over here and play with me in the light, and people said, no, we'd rather not go that way. It wasn't out of his weakness that he couldn't handle that. So it's
no, you're right. And I feel like I'm faced with the, I think I need to end this relationship, and I don't know how to do that when I love him. I am.
Well, painfully would be
really
the answer to that. Yeah, it'd be very, very painful. Yeah. But I'm not saying you have to end the relationship necessarily. But what I am saying is you've got your biggest discussion you've got to have right now is with yourself.
Yeah. No,
This is about you and what you want.
it is, and I've been married before, so I know it's hard enough, and to not have something like this in common, I just don't know how I can move forward.
Well, wait,
But
it's hard enough not having it in common, but what do you want? Let's not build something by how to manage the negative, right? When
yeah,
you're talking about that you're at a perfectly, you know, autonomously gifted, the world is your oyster place in your life where you've got, all of this, God willing, decades out there in front of you. And you're saying that you want to spend those decades pursuing all the ramifications that your faith have. And
yeah,
that means how you
yeah,
spend time, it's how you spend energy, it's what excites you, it's what you might want to give money to or not, it's communities that you connect yourself with, it's ways that you give and volunteer and serve. It's it gets into all of life. This whole thing wasn't designed to be a piece of life.
no,
It
you're
doesn't
right.
work well that
It
way.
is.
Okay.
No, no,
So
yeah,
if you're saying, you know, that's what I want for my next 4 decades. I want a life that is, you've often heard me say, if you've heard have you heard this show before?
I have. I listen to you a lot.
Oh, okay. So you know how
Yeah,
a lot of people will carve up the pie of life as having, physical, emotional, relational, professional, intellectual, and spiritual needs. You know,
yeah. God is
I
the whole
that
pie, isn't he?
for me, I mean, my my stinging hair catches on fire when I hear people have a spiritual dimension of their life, because the whole thing is spiritual.
It
When
is.
God
I
invented
agree.
this life, he threw a bunch of people on the earth and said, I am an invisible spirit. I'm going to put you in a physical body and I'm going to breathe my spirit into you. And your profession and how you live it out and you're reaching your goals and how you feel and how you overcome depression and anxiety and how you, spend your time and talents and resources and how you relate to people. That's all manifestations of your spiritual well-being.
It
So,
is, and it's yeah.
so I think that's what you want. I think that's what you want. But
It
go look in the
is,
mirror.
and you're yeah,
All right.
yeah. It
So
is. It
now
is.
hang on.
It's painful.
Hang on.
Ugh.
Well, it is. It's painful. But here's the thing. You might want to sit down with him and say, "You know what? We've we've been together a year and I really love you. There's so many things I enjoy with you and doing various parts of life with you and spending time, all the things that we do. But there's a big piece as I think of going forward with somebody, there's a big piece that's empty for me. And
Yeah.
I don't want to I don't want to lose you, but I can't be on a path where that much of my life is done solo when I'm in a relationship. And so here are some specific areas that I would like to invite you into. And why don't we say, if you want to, um, you're going to join me and come see. I don't want to change you. It's up to you. I don't want you doing this if you don't want to. But you would join me in these areas and find out why I want to spend my time and energy and resources like this and see. And see if you like doing it with me. And that way we've really integrated this into our dating. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Just like any other dating relationship, it doesn't work for some reason. It doesn't work. But you might want to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that would be a place to start, at least. I have kind of done that. You know, I have had similar conversations with him.
But has it gotten specific of what that means? Let's go on a retreat together. Let's join a Bible study together.
Yeah, I wish
Let's
things
go
were a
walk
little
on the
more
beach.
simple.
What's that?
Oh, this whole pandemic has it's been really challenging with the church and Bible studies but yeah, no, regardless, I agree with you.
Yeah, it's not that hard. I'm in a Bible study. We social distance now. Before that, we Zoomed.
Yeah.
We liked it. I bet you would like it. I bet if I invited you into it, you would like it.
Oh, I think I would love it.
Yeah. So why wouldn't he?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't he? We don't know.
Yeah.
But if he would, he would. Okay. Here's what you got to do. You set the bar, and you say, I don't know if who I'm going to be with is you or not. I want it to be. But whoever it is going to share this part of my life with me. I invite you to come try it. And if you don't, then obviously it's not going to make you happy to be with me because that's who I'm going to be. And it's not going to make me happy to be with you because you're not going to be that. And so there's our answer. This doesn't take high IQ to figure out. It just, does the glove fit or not?
Yeah. Perfect.
Okay.
That's giving me some words, some conversation openers with this very important topic. Because I do have decades and I know I want to spend them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And let me tell you this, there's nothing cooler than being on a lifelong journey with a spiritual partner.
I do long for that. I have friendships. Yeah. My friendships are that way.
I know that. And that's great. Yeah. And I was single, well into my 30s. And I was totally happy in my spiritual pursuits. And I could have continued that way. But I can't imagine, I've been married, 25 years now? I can't imagine if the last 25 years had been bifurcated between a marriage and everything I care about in the life of God, meaning from everything to community to activities and mission and all of that. I wouldn't have liked it. And that's why the Bible says don't be unequally yoked. So there you go.
Okay, perfect.
And let me tell you one more thing. I bet this is a great guy. I bet he's a great guy. Okay.
He is good.
And I hope you guys can work that out if that's what you want. That's what he wants. But don't let your mind trick you into thinking, but there'll never be anybody else.
Yeah, I do go there sometimes. It's hard to find a good one these days.
It's hard to find a good one when you're in one and not looking because you're not sure that if you're in the one that's not right. It is hard.
Yeah.
Much harder to do that.
Of course.
Okay.
Of course.
All right. Well, tell him congratulations also on finding a good woman, and y'all can find out if it is a match or not, and we'll see what happens.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
This has been fantastic.
Thank you for your call.
I appreciate it.
Okay. All righty.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Well, guys, a couple of things. I want to say one little quick thing about just one little thing that's said about Sherry. One of the things that kind of drives me nuts a little bit is when I hear people kind of bifurcate the spiritual life into sort of like, the old versions, traditional is, you have your life and then you go to church on Sunday and that's my spiritual life and this and the other. Well, I found out that that didn't work in my life. And when I hit the pavement and in college, and when I had to kind of figure out my very life and existence is in my relationship with God, moment by moment. And then I learned that it's not a piece of life. Okay. But the other thing I learned is that it's not what you think it is either. And that it doesn't you into some religious whack job, like a wacko idiot. Like we see these types out there. They're not even normal humans. Who would want to be like that? What it means is that everything you're doing, you're in relationship. And in your work, you're connected to God in your work. And while you work, you're connected to God when you plan your family. You're connected to God when you get well, with emotional issues or whatever. So it doesn't mean being weird at all. It just means being integrated. That's all it means. So don't think you have to turn into the life that I'm talking about here. You have to turn into some religious fanatic. How would Jesus be so attractive to the party animals in town? What do they say? He hangs out with the drunkards and the gluttons and the hookers and I promise you, he did not look like a religious fanatic at all. In fact, he said that they accused him of being a drunkard and a glutton. Why? Because he is a normal person. But what he did do is he lived a life that was connected to God and that was guided and empowered by God to be the greatest example of what humanity looks like, which is to be healthy, to not enable evil, to stand up against it, to reach out a hand to those that don't have a hand to reach out for themselves, and to treat people in every relationship you're in like you would want to be treated, to use your talents to be creative and to build something of value and enjoy the fruits of that labor and share it with other people. Pretty attractive life. So that's what Sherry's call reminded me of. I hope they can share that. Well, this has been the first into an experiment, which is can I can I do this program on drugs? Actually, today I did not take any pain medication because I knew I would be talking to you. And my wife said, "I've seen you on pain meds. You should not. There's no telling what you might say." So I got my water here. That's good. But it is good to be back. I am feeling well enough to where I think I'm going to be able to. If we might have to tweak the times. I'm traveling one day. I've got a doctor's appointment one day right around this time. But we'll post it on Facebook. We'll be back up and around on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube to talk to you. So I can't even remember now. And I just want to thank you for your support and waiting on this to get back where we all be a family again. That's been really, really cool. And I know I've got there's a lot of well-wishers that have said wonderful, supportive things on the platforms. I really, really appreciate that. And to all my friends that have reached out, thank you so much and your prayers. And you guys are still the best audience in the world. And I'm grateful for you. And with that, I will see you tomorrow. Okay. Bye-bye.